Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate you, we inspire. And today, man, we're going to educate you. We got a special treat for you today. We got an amazing author here today with us, Sue Fries. Welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Daniel. Thank you for asking.
Yes, well, I know the amazing rock star you are all the way from California. Do me a favor, introduce yourself. This is your second time on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, so
It is. It
we're
is.
honored to have you back. But for those that maybe didn't catch the first one, they'll go back and watch it. Tell us, who is Sue Fries?
Who is Sue Free? Mother of two, grandmother of four. They light up my world. And CEO of a top 100 company in the pest control industry, radio show host for 16 years now, and the author of just today or yesterday of my fourth book. So, author of four books, and this is by far my favorite and best.
And she's being bashful, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, she went three-time bestseller on Why Am I Here? And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But Sue, thank you so much for just spending time with us. You're a very amazing, successful businesswoman out there in California, and you have defied the odds. And what I mean by that is that not a lot of people reach the level of success in business that you have. And I've been blessed to be one of the top business coaches here in South Texas. And the truth is, most people don't realize this, that most businesses go out of business within the first year. And another fun fact is most businesses never even break 100,000. I think it's over 85% of businesses never even touch 100,000 in revenue. What is one or two things that you would say that has really helped you that you want to share with the audience, and as far as two things that you live by in business?
Seeking to understand more than to be understood. ROI, return of investment, is important in all aspects, personal relationships, relationships in business, and finances. Making sure you're checking your finances to make sure that you're doing what you need to be doing when you need to be doing it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the show where we tell you get out your pen and get out your paper because you're going to want to take notes because Sue's going to drop some massive wisdom. So let's go a little bit deeper on that. So, talk to us about wanting to be understood instead of understanding. Let's go deeper on that one. I like that one. I agree with you on it. Do you think most people want to be understood instead of really trying to understand the person they're speaking to or the situation that they might be in?
Up a little bit, so I'm hoping that stops. But is what was the question? Because you broke up right in the middle of it. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, so the question that I asked you was when someone's trying to be understood instead of trying to be understanding, what's the importance of that?
They want their feelings to matter more than the person that they're with, is how I gather it. It's when someone is wanting someone to understand them, it's because they feel misunderstood, I guess, of course, right?
Yeah.
And if we are wanting to understand them, then what that does is it makes them feel more important and valued as a person. And then hopefully the real goal between the two people is to come to a common ground, to understand what it is they're both desiring, wanting, and with open communication and a safe environment to communicate completely, you can actually come to a resolve that's going to be a win-win for both parties. And the goal should be to find the win-win. As long as it's not hurting another person, let's look for the win-win.
I love that. So, ladies and gentlemen, ask yourself this question. Are you one that wants to be understood more than what you want to be understanding? And you know what comes to mind with me with that is like, right? If somebody wants to be understood, they want to be right. Right? I want to be understood,
Okay, okay.
right? I could kind of because I had a conversation with somebody actually last week, and they're like, "Yeah, like I'm understanding you, but you want to be understood so much that you have the need to be right." So, what I've experienced in business a lot of times, or just in relationships, like you're talking about, is that when somebody wants to be understood, they kind of have the need to want to be right or to be heard. And a lot of times that can come from insecurities or
Yes.
just trust issues that they have, or they want to prove a point. And I think that when that happens, it's not a good thing. And I love what you're saying because when you're understanding, it's like I have this saying, I learned this earlier this year, and it helps me a lot because it's right. Even though I have a whole paragraph to say, I'm going to let you have the last word.
I've not heard that. That's a good one.
Yeah, right.
That's a
It's
good
like,
one.
and it's really helped me to like just that's where you cut it off, right? Even though I have a whole paragraph, I have a whole chapter to tell you. I'm gonna let
Right.
you have the last word, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
So think about that. So
That's good.
let me ask you this. You just finished mentioning that you had your fourth book released. It's called
Yes.
Why Am I Here? Talk to us about when someone reads your book, Why Am I Here? What are they going to capture from the book?
I would say that, for instance, for me, is like I'm like, who am I and why am I here? I just talked on the radio about this, about having a clear goal, understanding why you're here gives you the goal or the direction in which you're going. So when anything comes your way that's going to push you off course, if you're clear in your mind that this is the direction you want to go and you feel totally that's where you're supposed to be, then you're going to stand more firm in your position in loving kindness, but you're going to stay focused on the goal instead of getting swayed with the wind. I think that's number one most important thing is in the Bible, it talks about be prepared with the word. And that goes in two ways for me now. I was dreaming, and that was something that was brought to me in a dream is be prepared. And I woke up going, what do you mean, God? What do you mean be prepared? Be prepared for what? And in the Bible, it talks about be prepared with the word to explain why you have this faith and this belief. That one is easy for me just on personal experiences. And I think all of us have those personal experiences. And if we really look for where God has shown up, and if we live an intentional life, it's going to be a lot better for us. Is that for when much is given, much is required. And in my position now, I believe I have been given a whole lot. I am so blessed, and I'm thank you God for my in that blessing. Be prepared for the enemy, and the enemy, think of it like, the red body and the horns and Halloween kind of thing. And really, the devil is real and he's here to steal, kill, and destroy. And so when we stay focused on the goal to win the prize, I'm all about that. I want to win the prize and I want to run the race and I want to win. Obviously, I like to win. If you're going to play, let's win. You
Yeah.
experienced that with the bowling, didn't you? Uh, I'm
Well, you
still
know,
sore. I'm still sore from that, by the way. Yeah, but that was fun. It was fun. And it was, you said to me, you're competitive. And I'm like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm more competitive against myself than I am others. I compete against me. It's like, I wasn't upset that you got a strike. I was upset that I didn't because I want to do better, right? So I was happy for you. Celebrate your strike. But I wanted to have a strike because I wanted to be better, right? So yeah, so we strive for excellence.
so
Yeah.
let's kind of circle back on the title because I love the title.
Okay, let's do that.
Why am I
Let's do that.
here? Do you think, right? I think sometimes actually we had a mutual friend that we had, and many people don't know why they're here because they think they're a mistake or they think that they've made a mistake and
Yes.
they're defined by that mistake. Or like myself,
There is no mistake.
I have failed many times in my life. I tell everybody, man, I have failed thousands of times in my life, but I just get back up. But not many people can get back up because then that's where the shame, the guilt, the condemnation, because we condemn ourselves sometimes, and then we question, well, why am I here, right? Was I born here to fail or to, am I just a mistake or am I lost? And then, because I truly believe in my heart, nobody wakes up today and says, you know what, Sue, you know what, Daniel, I want to be homeless today. Like it's a process of things that people go through in their heart and their mind and their soul because they don't know why they're here. So what's a word of encouragement that someone will draw from your book based on the title? Because I think the title, it's why am I here? People need to know that their life has meaning, their life has purpose, and I think you did a great job in
Absolutely.
just kind of demonstrating that throughout your book.
Yeah. God makes messages out of our messes, and we're all here for a reason. And our lessons prepare us for our next assignment, number one. Number two is our belief system from really early on. We create belief systems in our own minds, and those records that we play in our heads cause us to, because we our greatness. So we have to really guard our tongue. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So make sure that what you're is they don't know. You know, when you say stupid. You might have made a mistake, but you're not stupid. But your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what you mean and what you really mean. And so we got to guard our mouths. We got to speak what's truth. Like I had a broken leg, I shattered my leg, and we didn't know if I was going to be able to walk again. And people would say, "Oh, how's your bad leg?" They didn't mean any bad will to me, but they were saying, "How's your bad leg?" And I would correct them and say, "I don't have a bad leg." And even though I didn't experience getting better every day, my words would say, I'm getting better every day. I'm getting better. Even though I couldn't walk, I was atrophying in my leg. Everything visually would say, I'm not getting better. I'm not. But in my mind, I told myself, I'm getting better. And here I am, a walking, talking, dancing testimony that I am better. I got better every day, and I'm still getting better every day with my heart, my mind, my soul. I'm getting better every day. And the same can be true for you. In my book, I have a section for rewords, and rewords are reconciled, resurrected, redeemed. They're all the God of our God is a God of second chances. And so there's a whole section in there, and you need to get this book, a whole section in it that talks about all the rewords, the second chances in our lives. And then there is a whole nother section is something that I talk about quite often because our words can determine our destiny just by what we speak over ourselves and others. So we need to be
Yes.
careful, guard our mouths, and watch our tongues and make sure that what we're speaking is what we want to have come to us, what we want to declare, what we want to manifest. We want to make sure our words are speaking truth. When someone says, I'm starving, I'll say to them, you're not starving. There are starving people. You're not one of them. You know, and they'll say, oh, brother, but oh, brother, let's watch what we say. Let's watch what we say.
I love what we're talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, think about this. Let's kind of rewind here. Write this down. What is it that maybe you have failed at, you have made a mistake at, and you're being hard on yourself, and you're questioning yourself, why am I here in a bad way? Instead of saying, why am I here in a positive way? And what can I be to do, have more and be more? And then what Sue just said is powerful, right? The words that we speak. Are you cognitive, ladies? And write that down. Are you aware? Write this down. Am I aware of what I'm speaking about every single day? And the truth is, Sue, most people ain't aware and they speak negative about themselves. They speak negative about a situation. And I was just on a phone call right now with one of our clients, and I said, man, I said, I'll tell you what, why don't you do this? It's easy to thank God when something's already happened, right? Like, thank you, God, that for us, Rick, we're selling our lake house right now. Thank you, God, that our lake house sold after it happens. But no, I said, you got to start speaking victory over yourself, right? Don't speak for victory, speak from a place of victory. And I said, start thanking and release your faith ahead of time because that gives your words even more power because you're releasing them out into the world, into the universe. So be cognitive of that. Let me ask you this: what's something that Sue, because right, we see you as a successful, amazing woman, amazing author. What is something that you had to really start catching yourself at when you're like, I didn't realize I was speaking these words over me, and that you had to correct that within yourself?
I'm so glad you said that because it's something I didn't say in my speech, and it's something that I really want to bring up because I am so word crafting, thinking all the time about my thinking, my believing, stinking thinking. They say stinking thinking, and as you believe it, so shall you be, Um, is I called my sister because as I was going through my marriage, my 32 years of marriage, so often I felt so alone. I just felt alone. I was married with children, but I felt so alone. And so I would say, I'd get in front of the mirror before I'd go to church, before I'd go somewhere, and I'd put on that mask saying, I'm okay, I can handle this. And I would say, alone again, naturally. That was something that I would say all the time, alone again, naturally. Now that seems harmless, really, but not really. It kind of was where I was at the time. But recently, I was married 32 years. I'm not married now. I haven't been married for many years, 14 years, I think. But recently, I realized that I don't want to be alone anymore. I really don't want to be alone anymore. So, what do I have to do? I have to change that song in my mind. I got to quit singing alone again naturally. So I'm driving my car for 2 hours going to my lake house, and I'm thinking, wow, I've got to change my words. I have to change how I think. I am bringing that on. I don't want to be alone anymore. I really don't want to be alone anymore. And so all of a sudden, I changed one word, just one word. Do you want to know what the word is?
Tell me. I think I have a feeling, but let the
It's
audience
one
tell.
word. Alive again naturally.
Mm.
And so now I sing alive again naturally. And I am alive. I'm more alive than I've ever been. And it's because I'm singing that over me. And that's something I wanted to say and I didn't say it for some reason. And it's exciting now because, yeah, that's where I'm at. Alive again naturally.
Are you an aspiring speaker? Do you have a book that you've been wanting to write for months, maybe even years? Or are you an aspiring podcaster? You want to start that podcast like the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show and don't know where to start? Well, at Daniel Gomez Enterprises, we can help you do all three. We can help you become that paid speaker, share your story to the world, write your book, and get your podcast launched and help you produce it. We'd love to help you. Give us a call at 210-663-5954. That's 210-663-5954. We can help you become that paid speaker, write that book, and launch your podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call now. The reality of life is that most people on a daily basis, when they get up, people just exist. Because that was me too. And you just flow through the day. I call it drifting. You drift. But when I started being intentional with my morning routine and just really being cognitive of what I'm doing throughout the day, and then when my words came into play, it's like, right, if you speak junk, you're going to get junk into your life. If you speak gold, you're going to get gold into your life.
That's
And,
right.
and
That's
right,
right.
what this is I heard this from one of my first coaches. She told me this, Daniel, what you talk about, you bring about.
That's right. That's so right. It
And
is
I was
so
like,
true.
say that again. And she just said it like twice, but it just anchored me because it spoke so much to me in that season of life that I was in. And I'm like, but it's sometimes we can use these. I tell people, right? Of course we write books. You're an author. I'm an author, but by the way, we're honored to be your publisher, by the way. So just thank you for
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
But I say that
You've been
because
wonderful, by the way.
we say these words, right?
Yeah.
What you talk about, you bring about. And most books, people don't realize this, are written in eighth grade level is the average of books out there. And sometimes we can use these big words, but you miss the people that sometimes they just be simple. What you
Hmm.
talk about, you bring about. So what happened to you? Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, because thank you for being totally transparent and authentic with us. Sue's being honest here. So when you started going from alone again to alive again, what happened at a deeper level, Sue?
It changed everything. It changed me on a heart level, on a health level, on everything. And now I'm anticipating my next steps, my next life. And I'm not, I'm perfectly fine alone. I am comfortable with who I am. But would I like to share this life with another human being, a special person, and have a ministry together? Yeah, that's what I want. And it's got to be somebody very special that God has, refined for me. And I look forward to that. And it's the second time I've said this today. So be careful what you ask for, right? Because whew, wow. I mean, this person's going to be amazing, and I know it, and I'm excited for the next chapter. Getting back to the I ams, which I think everybody could be strengthened by, is instead of listening, it was based on another question you asked me, but instead of listening to the records, the recordings you have in your mind so far that have worked for you, there's recordings that have worked for me up until a while ago, and then I had to change those recordings. So instead of having that recording play, it's not even speaking out of your mouth. It doesn't get that far. It's in your head. It's thoughts you play in your head, that thought of it being unworthy or that thought of just not measuring up, you know, um, they're real. They're real, but they're not real. And if you
You know, uh,
change those, if
so,
you
so this
change,
is this is good, right? So one of the speakers made a good comment.
yeah,
He goes, all of a sudden I get into personal development and I hear a word that I've never heard before. And he really challenged my thinking, right? And he goes, "You don't, this is what he said, ladies and gentlemen. You don't climb a tree and say, 'Am I worthy to climb the tree and cut a tree down?'" I'm like, yeah, I guess he's right. And then, but as I gave it more thought to, I'm thinking like, well, a baker doesn't wake up in the morning and say, "Well, am I worthy of baking a cake this morning?" But what I realize is a lot of the occupations in America, their habit. It's like when you're learning to drive a car, you're real cognitive of trying to learn the right way of driving a car, and you once you get it, you just do it automatically. So when people go to work from 9 to 5, and nothing wrong with 9 to 5 because that was me forever, and my wife still has her own career also in the banking industry, but you don't challenge yourself many times to grow. So you just keep living life at that surface level. But yourself, myself, and people that are out there listening to this episode on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show is that when you start challenging yourself to grow and really go deeper within yourself, then the picture I like to paint for people is it's like a hard level of topsoil on a pot, and it hasn't been cultivated. And all of a sudden, you go from being a mechanic, a tree climber, a tree trimmer, whatever you're doing, and now you're cultivating that. Okay, now you're going to be the business owner. You want to become better. Stuff's going to rise to the top that you've never seen for a while, and it can make you think like, "Damn, am I worthy to do this?" And that's it. Really challenged me to think that based on what we're talking about, right? And because many people don't realize why do I feel unworthy?
I think that my unworthiness came from shame, feeling guilty about decisions that I had made, such as having an abortion. And I think that I felt unlovable. How could someone love me when I committed the sin of having killing another human being? And it was very serious, but at the time, I will live with that decision for my I regret it. And people that live with regret or shame or unworthiness, being sexually molested, there's shame that goes with that, thinking, what did I do to bring it on? Getting raped, same thing. What did I do to bring that on? I didn't do anything. But at the time, I felt that maybe I did. So with all of those being said, I think that's on an emotional level. I think as far as doing things, your experiences help you promote as you do things. It's kind of like athletics, being a gymnast, as long as I was and CIF champion. I didn't start out being a CIF champion. I had to start at the bottom. Competitive dancer. I started at novice and went up to advanced. And it happens with time, and it's doing, it's physical doing. But when you have your emotions, your heart, you can feel this feeling of being unlovable or unworthy. And that's where I think the devil gets us the most. And what I said earlier on my radio show was that the one biggest thing someone can do to get themselves out of those feelings is, number one, really realizing you're in that and that you're feeling that. Understanding God's love and his forgiveness and his mercy really is a big help in cleansing you. But the biggest one I can say for most people is they're stuck in unforgiveness. And if I could say one thing that healed me the most was having people come around me that was safe, that could help me understand that I needed to forgive, even though those people, just like the shooter, uh, didn't deserve to be forgiven. But those people don't deserve to be forgiven. But if I choose to forgive, then I'm released of that and I have the freedom to move forward into what God created me to do. Then the next step is forgiving yourself for things that you did that you're not proud of. And I feel such a serious message that if people really receive that and do the work, for me, I didn't want to forgive those people. They don't deserve to be forgiven. They deserve to rot, but they don't, but they do for me. And I had to make a decision in my head that I'm going to choose to forgive these people, even though they don't deserve it. It's not for them. It's not for the person that did that to you. It's not for them. It's for you to get freed. No bondage. You have nothing holding you back. There is nothing. You're released. You're freed. There is this weight that's lifted off to where you can move forward into what God really, really, really created you for.
Well, let's
So if you hear
unpack this. This is
nothing
good.
else in this time together with Daniel, is work on that. Work on forgiving and forgiving yourself. And once you do that, and you know what it says? It says, God says that in the level you forgive, you too shall be forgiven. So if there's someone out there you haven't forgiven, then you're not going to get the full grace and mercy of forgiveness for yourself if you don't forgive others. So understand that it's measured. And you need to do this if you really want the freedom and the grace that God has for you and his unconditional love. This
Well,
is an important
let's
task.
I want to kind of reflect back on what you said, right? Thank you for sharing your heart, by the way. And Sue said, right, she mentioned when you I can see, right, write this down, ladies and gentlemen. What is it? I'm going to say some things and write down what speaks to you. Made a comment. She reflected back on when she was younger, she had an abortion. Me, I was right. I was molested. I tried to kill myself. And these scenarios in your life, right? You get fired from a big position at work, or maybe you get divorced, or maybe you try to kill yourself some other way, whatever it may be for you, that could cause a human being to ask themselves, why am I here? And then you question your own existence. And then this is what I started doing is that you start to see yourself as damaged goods. And for me, my mentality was, well, shit, I'm already damaged. Why care? Right. And then you kind of live through life in a way where you stop caring about other people and then you start hurting people because you just don't care because you see yourself as, man, well, why am I here? Right. Like if what if right, this is what I hear people say. If there really is a God, why did I get molested? If there really is a God, why did this well, it's not that God made it happen or God allowed it to happen. Like human beings have free will. You need to understand that, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
And I think that you need to understand that when you go through an experience of like my dad, he was an alcoholic. He drank his whole life and he died from liver as a cancer. But one thing that I remember going through that, Sue, is like it hurt. But now when somebody says, hey, my dad is going through this or my mom, my parents are going through this, right? Going back to what the first comment we talked about, I understand because I've lived it. We had my dad at hospice in my home. So why am I here? Because, well, you go through these experiences sometimes, whether it's a loved one dying or a loved one having cancer, diabetes, whatever it is, a slow death, getting molested, having an abortion, going through a divorce. Because if God uses you, he chose you for a reason because now you can walk other people through it that maybe ain't as strong as a Sue or a Daniel. And not by that we do it in our own strength, but by God's grace. So somebody here is watching this episode. You're listening somewhere and you're asking yourself, why am I here, right? Really, Daniel and Sue, like, you don't know what happened to me. I got molested. I was raped. Okay. I'm not minimizing what happened to you because I got molested myself. But I do have a choice as a grown up to, like Sue said, forgive that individual. And I think, Sue, one thing that I realize is that it's when you forgive, you set the prisoner free.
Hmm.
And then you realize all along that prisoner was
That's
you.
you. That's right. That's exactly right.
And I don't know who needs to hear that today, but maybe you've been struggling with forgiving yourself.
Hmm.
Forgive yourself. Or maybe you did the first level of forgiveness, but let me tell you, as God takes you higher, as you level up, you have to go deeper and forgive yourself even deeper. And you know what? Take a moment, Sue, right now and talk to the audience and just give them a word of encouragement if they're struggling with unforgiveness or not. Can you just give them a word of inspiration, please?
Take the time to take a deep breath and just breathe in, breathe out. Take time for yourself to just sit back and be still and let God do the healing inside your heart. And go through whatever you have to go through mentally to put everything on in front of you, just everything in front of you to where you can just give it over to God. When I had the abortion, I had people walking through the process, and they actually verbally gave me the vision of receiving my baby, naked baby, not wrapped up in any cloth, just a naked baby. And I realized at that moment it was a baby boy. And then they had me visualize handing the baby up, and Jesus's hands were reaching down to receive my baby. And that was the ultimate of just knowing that my baby was in good hands and that Jesus was receiving my baby, therefore helping me, forgive me. And maybe that's you today. Maybe you need that, where you need to just bundle it up and hand it over. So then you can be freed and washed white as snow. So you can forgive those that trespassed against you, and you can forgive yourself. So you can move forward in how God has created you to move forward. And then you can be used for His glory and be used in a way that you're the only person maybe that can touch this other person. And the only way it could happen is because you have come to the new reality of God's grace and mercy, and that you are forgiven and you are good enough, and that you are valued in Christ. And that was the biggest thing for me, is to understand who I was in Christ, and that He sent His only Son to die for me. And when I received that, I cried like a baby, but I felt so refreshed to know that now I can live, and I can live an abundant life. I can prosper, and I can feel good about who I am, where I am, and why I am. And you can do the same.
What is your favorite? What is one of your favorite scriptures in your book? Why am I here? God is the God of second chances.
Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, to prosper you, not to harm you, to bring you a hope and a future. That's a very big one for me, because some people think that it's not okay to prosper. And I think it's okay to prosper. And prosper could be different things for different people. It's just like success is different for each person. What is success to an individual? It's different. I said this on my show today too, is that I am successful and I'm blessed beyond measure, but it still wasn't enough. I felt like there was still something missing, and it was because I want to have a significant impact on other people. And how you do that is by bringing the Lord into their lives and letting them know the good news. It seems simple, but it's really not.
Yeah.
It is, but it isn't, because you want everybody to receive it and to give the faith the size of a mustard seed and see that person walk away. You don't know if it's going to grow or not. I've done my duty, but it would be nice to see the fruit of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
love
would
it.
say Charlie Kirk
So
is an amazing
as
man.
we're getting ready to land the ship here, what is what is something that you want your readers to take away from your new book? Why am I here? God is a God of second chances.
That you are important, that you are valued, that you are worthy, and that God created you with a specific plan and purpose for your life. And in order to get the best out of that, do the work, do what you need to do. And remember that you are a child of God, that you're forgiven, you're a new creature, temple of the Holy Spirit. There are so many words here of I ams. And if you speak those over your life, it will transform you by the renewing of your mind.
Boom, baby. Sue Freeze. Sue, if someone wants to get a hold of you and connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Sue Fries, spelt like fries, one word.com. And my book is available on Amazon, and I would hope that you could buy the book for me. I would really appreciate that. And I would
Yes.
bless you. I know it'll bless you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in worldwide. Thank you for making the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show one of the top podcasts around the world. Sue, thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you're getting ready to go to Peru here this in the next couple of hours. So thank you for just spending time with us here. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, you see the sign behind me, the Millionaire Mind Boot Camp, November 14th, 15th here in San Antonio, Texas. We want to change your life. We want to inspire you. We all need help. And remember this, no one can do it alone. Join us next week with another amazing guest. We want to see you in San Antonio. We want to see you here. And if someone needs to really see this episode or hear this episode again, share it with them or go back and take notes. Listen, what is God speaking to you through this episode? So think about it. Go deeper on this episode. I would go back and watch it at least one more time and really take away what God has for you. Until next week here on the Daniel Gomez Inspired Show, we want to say thank you for everybody. And Sue, thank you once again for joining us.
Thank
Until
you.
next week, we'll see you here on the Daniel Gomez Inspired Show.